Okay, so let's talk about the MERS system now. So MERS is short for Mortgage Electronic Registration Systems, and it was designed in the banking industry in the 90s as a way to track and trace transfer of interest and servicing rights from party to party in the secondary mortgage market. And it was there to help speed and aid in the securitization process. Okay, so the way MERS works is that MERS shows up as the beneficiary or the mortgagee on a deed of trust or mortgage. Okay, and so then what happens is everybody in the banking industry becomes a MERS member, and anyone that's dealing with transfers of servicing rights mostly can sign into the MERS system, and they can have their employees come on as MERS certifying officers. And so this is an agency system. Now, one of the unfortunate things is that there was no enforcement if parties failed to record interest in the computer system. And so what we see very typically is we will analyze a situation and we'll know that a mortgage note was transferred to 3-4 parties in a securitization, but yet when we look at the MERS milestone reports, which are not public documents, you have to get through court discovery, you'll find that there are no milestones or one milestone or missing milestones, and that's just because there was no enforcement. They were sloppy. And so even if the MERS system, even if we could get all of the milestones made public, it would not, in many cases, give us a clear understanding of who the parties are. So, like we talked about in the securitization video, there are usually about 4 parties involved in securitization. And so what normally you would see under the law as it's been for hundreds of years, every time a note was assigned, you'd see a corresponding assignment of the security agreement, the mortgage or deed of trust. But what we're seeing now, because they wanted that to be private, is we're not seeing those assignments in the county recorder's office. And so let's say a loan is securitized in 2006, and we go into the recorder's office in 2010, that record is not true and correct, okay? Because the assignments are being done internally, if at all. Now, in the case of a foreclosure, they need the foreclosure to be initiated by the beneficiary or mortgagee, who is the note holder, and so they do assignments out of the MERS system to whoever the note holder is. And I'm going to get into that in the next video as to what those assignments look like and all that. But what it's important to know is that MERS doesn't actually have any interest in the notes, any beneficial interest in the deeds of trust, okay? And so it can only act as an agent on behalf of the note holder. So when you see a MERS assignment, understand that it has to be taking place on behalf of the note holder. Now, it's unfortunate that they don't list, when MERS signs something, they don't list who they're acting on behalf of, okay? And so you have to know more about where that mortgage loan went in order to figure out who they're acting on behalf of. But even when you know that, it doesn't make any sense. Okay, but so really quickly here, I just want to read to you a little bit of testimony from MERS CEO R.K. Arnold, where he admits that MERS doesn't have interest in the notes or any beneficial interest. Okay, so the homeowner attorney asks R.K. Arnold, and let me just tell you where this comes out of. This comes out of a deposition. This comes out of R.K. Arnold, MERS CEO deposition, November 10th, 2010. You can find that online. He's asked, is it true that your company has nothing to do with origination of underwriting any mortgage loan? Answer, yes. And is it true that your company never extended credit to any consumer? Answer, yes. And is it true that your company does not purchase or sell mortgage loans? True. And it's true that your company is never an investor in a mortgage loan. True. Your system does not actually create any beneficial interest in a mortgage loan, does it? True. And it does not transfer any beneficial interest in a mortgage loan, does it? True. In fact, what your system does is tracks the paper documents which are the subjects of these agreements and endorsements and things that we've been discussing this morning, right? Yes. And it's the members that utilize the system to track it. Okay. Let's also read to you from a California bankruptcy case. In Ricky Walker, debtor, where the judge says, since MERS did not own the underlying note, it could not transfer the beneficial interest of the deed of trust to another. Any attempt to transfer the beneficial interest of a deed of trust without ownership of the underlying note is void under California law. Okay, and so there's courts everywhere that are saying this, especially the bankruptcy courts. But so we know that MERS doesn't have any interest in the notes. And so they have to act on behalf of the note owner. So first, whoever the note owner is, they have to have the note at the time MERS commits any actions on their behalf. So any assignments of deed of trust or assignments of mortgage, they have to be done at the time that the assignor has the note to assign it to the assignee. And they have to be MERS members. Okay. Now, we're going to go over an assignment in the next video. And what we're going to see is that that assignment uses language which doesn't apply to MERS because they don't have any interest. Doesn't apply to the original lender because they had sold their interest into securitization years before. Okay? And doesn't apply to the securitization platform's depositor because they're not a MERS member. And so we're going to go into that and we're going to see why these assignments, why these MERS assignments have a lot of language in them which is untrue, okay? And so which would invalidate those assignments. All right, so I think in this short video, I can't get into a whole lot more about MERS because to do so would require probably a good 30-40 minutes to really go into all of it. But that's all for now, and then let's go to the next video about the types of assignments that you're going to see in the county recorder's offices.